Hi, I'm Rick Rheins, Senior Rabbi at Temple Sinai in Denver, Colorado. This week we have special Torah readings because we'll be celebrating Passover. Pesach begins the evening on Wednesday, April the 1st, and as the 14th day of Nisan melds into the beginning of the 15th day, we'll gather around our tables and we will celebrate our Passover reading from a Haggadah, a telling of our ancestral story, the story of redemption, of how after hundreds of years of oppression and slavery in Egypt, that God inspired Moses and Miriam and Aaron to let our people go, to confront Pharaoh and to bring us to freedom, beginning the story then of the Jewish people. And so as a part of the Haggadah, which comes from the word lehagid, to tell, we tell the story of our ancestrals' experience and experience it on a personal level with the symbols of Passover, the moror, which brings us the bitterness, and also the matzah, which is the lachma anya, the bread of affliction, or the bread of poverty, the bread that we couldn't even allow to rise or leaven because we were so anxious to escape from slavery. And to those bitterness, those symbols of bitterness, we also have the 4 cups of wine of redemption, of celebration, and we will have the choroset, the sweet mixture that softens the bitterness and reminds us that there is always hope. And to our ancestral story, we will also tell the story that our bubbies and zadis and parents have gone through, so that we realize that God's blessings of redemption are ongoing. So the 2 Torah portions that we have, that first day service, in the morning then on Thursday, we will be reading from Exodus chapter 12. And it has from 21 on the story of Moses receiving the instructions from God to tell the children of Israel that this is a night that is Leil Shimurim. Leil Shimurim, a night that you must observe throughout all your generations, to tell that story and to recall the miracles of the Exodus. And it talks about preparing ourselves for also the matzah and the paschal offering, and bringing together offerings then that will connect our community together. At the end of that story, when Moses then finally brings this message to Pharaoh saying, this is it, this is that fateful night, and Pharaoh's court and his home were so overwhelmed with that final plague that Pharaoh then says, yes, go, Moses, you and all of your people, the men and the women and the children, let no one be left behind, just as you had told me, and I was too stubborn to do it. But all that you have, your flocks, your herds, everyone in your community, go, velechu, go. But then finally, with just a little glimpse of humility, finally, Pharaoh, humbled, said, Uverachti gam oti. Uvarachtem gam oti. And please, all of you, not just you, Moses, uvarachtem, and all of you, bless me also. Pharaoh is asking for the blessings from children of Israel, which seems chutzpah after all that he did. And yet, when your enemy humbles and says, I'm ready to make a new life, I can set aside the weapons, I can turn them, the spear into a pruning hook and a sword into a plowshare, I will join with you in peace. When there is that humility that our enemies can exhibit, that too is a part of the redemption story. We've not seen it very often, which is why we read it at Passover, how significant it is. We wish, of course, that the the Persian lords, the Khomeinis, the heads of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard would say, Uvarach tam gam oti, bless us also, because we're tired. Israel is tired. The United States is tired of fighting against those who are only sponsoring terrorism and brutality of their own people, as well as all of their neighbors. Would it be that too would be another wonderful chapter to add to our Haggadah one day, in which there would be peace in the Middle East? So we read this on that Thursday morning, and there's another Torah portion on Shabbat morning. And that Torah portion is from Exodus chapter 33. Now, this is a chapter that we also read during the festival of Sukkot. And it's a surprising chapter. Why are we reading this during Passover? Because it doesn't relate necessarily to Passover. And for that matter, why do we read it during Sukkot? Because it doesn't necessarily relate to Sukkot. But it's read on the Shabbat of Sukkot and of Passover because it also is talking about our own redemption. It's a reflection of the time right after the golden calf incident, in which Moses is pleading to God, forgive my people. And God is giving Moses and the children of Israel another opportunity, saying, I will be with you. I will go where you go. And then Moses finally asks, after all of this experience and getting that forgiveness, he says, Hareini na et kevodecha. Let me see you, God. Let me see you. Let me see your glory. Moses, after all that he's experienced, after all the miracles, wants to open up that door and see Elijah. He wants to see a sense of absolute confirmation that there's going to be peace and goodness from now on. And God said, that's not what I can show you. You can't see me. I'm not a being. I'm not a person. I'm not a thing. I'm God who created all life. That peace and that redemption, that's going to require you, Moses. That's going to require each and every one of us. And we have to start with us, with the way we treat one another, how we open up that door and say, halach ma'anya, those who are hungry, come eat. This may be the bread of affliction, but what meager things we have, we will share. We will lift up our neighbors with the hope of redemption. And if we start that talk of redemption and of hope and of goodness and forgiveness among ourselves, then maybe too we will have a Pharaoh or a Persian lord who will say, Uverachtem gamoti, please bless me also. Let me be forgiven. Wouldn't that be the day? So as we gather around our Passover tables and celebrate and read the Haggadah, I pray that each of us will forgive one another. Each of us will take the symbols of bitterness and of redemption and saying, both are mixed in our lives. It's not just one or the other. We have both. But let's elevate the hope. Let's elevate the goodness. Let's elevate that which will unite all of humanity. May your family have a Zisen Pesach, a sweet, joyous, meaningful Passover. Chag Pesach Sameach for you and your loved ones and for this world.